So what's up, guys? Modernity, right? What's going on with modernity? Why is all of a sudden? Why does all of a sudden occur this? Why do, like we had 1,000 years of Christianity. Everything was cool, right? It was traditional. It was peaceful, mostly. It was very traditional, mostly. And then it all came crashing down, right? The age of Pisces was over, and all of a sudden Christianity lost all its power, and we had an explosion of degeneracy, like of feminism and homosexuality and abortion and all of these things that we don't like. Why did they all explode this much? This is unprecedented in history, right? But this actually makes a lot of sense, and here's why. The that these traits, like humanity has a sort of psychological shadow, like how individual humans have one, and this psychological shadow is always there and needs to be integrated. And Christianity didn't integrate it at all. It repressed all degenerate urges of humanity, which without leaving an outlet, without creating a ritualized outlet which allowed these urges to be offloaded, to event it. And all previous civilizations had that, right? The Sumerians had their temple prostitution, which alleviated the sexual degeneracies of the Semitic populations. And we all know Semitic populations are very sexually degenerate, whether Jews or Muslims. These people, if you think San Francisco gays are degenerate, you haven't seen Muslims yet, you haven't seen Jews yet. They don't talk about it, but they are really, really degenerate. And this is partly because of their racial instincts, that they just are like that, and partly because the modern Abrahamic religions do not offer an outlet. They do not have any conventional legal way to offload these urges that every human civilization has inside its population, and those can't even be like bred out or exterminated from the gene pool because they're not genetic. They're part of a human collective subconscious. And previous civilization, previous non-Christian, non-Abrahamic, non-Islamic, non-Jewish religious worldviews always had a way to vent these impulses. Like again, the temple prostitution of ancient Sumeria, they had the human sacrifices. Human sacrifices do serve this purpose. They do serve the purpose of offloading the human impulse to murder. Basically, everyone builds up. Sacrifices are always necessary because we do so many evil things. Basically, we sin so much that something has to pay for it, and we don't want to pay for it, right? So we create a scapegoat, being which is specifically chosen to carry all our sins and be sacrificed for it. And this is what Jesus was actually. This is what Christianity means with like he died for our sins, right? He was a scapegoat. The issue is obviously that the argument of Christianity is that he was the final scapegoat. We don't need any more. But human psychology doesn't work like that. We don't say, okay, all our guilt is alleviated. We just need to believe in Jesus Christ now, and now all our sins are forgiven. We don't really believe that, even though I'm a Christian. I do believe it's mostly true, but not necessarily a conventional one, right? I do think that sacrifices of some sort, even human sacrifices, are actually very good for our civilization. And the need for an outlet, a civilization, an outlet to offload these human dark impulses has never been greater, because what we now see, what modernity is, what we all now see is a dysfunction, a pathological um, emergence of all these urges which have been repressed for 1,000 years. In some cases, like with the Jews, for several thousand years. And this can explain a lot with the Jews, for example. They are very repressed people, and they are just now actually, the Jews still sacrifice people. And this isn't necessarily a bad thing, though they should sacrifice their own people. They shouldn't sacrifice ours. That's the issue. Now, yes, human sacrifice is generally a good thing for psychological reasons, for our collective subconscious. And so is, like, for example, like homosexuality, transsexuality. All these are like modern pathological versions of a dark impulse of humanity which always existed but hasn't been repressed for so long, and that's why it's now without any ritualized ways to sublimate this impulse. It's going completely out of bounds, right? Homosexuality was never supposed to be a normalized thing. It was always supposed to be a marginal thing, something that exists, but that should be outside of regular society. I personally propose that, like, people who are gay or transgender, we can't really kill them all and drive them to extinction, because, again, it's not genetic. It's not even well, it is spread through grooming, yes, but not just. It also emerges autonomously, because a percentage of human civilization will always have this impulse, and this percentage should be put to use in a useful way in a segregated community, basically. I propose that we create some sort of monastery for these people, in which, because this is also something that sounds weird, but it's actually confirmed, is that like gay people and transgender people, they are, due to the nature of their existence, they are better suited for magical abilities. And so let's make them let's create like a gay Hogwarts, basically. This sounds ridiculous, but it's actually a pretty solid idea, in my opinion. And that way, these people can benefit the nation while also being like among their own. Same thing with like human sacrifices. There's always going to be the human impulse to kill, to offload their guilt for their sins. And so in that case too, there should be an institutional way to sublimate this impulse. This is the main issue I have with Christianity, actually, is that it's psychologically unhealthy for people, because it doesn't allow for a way to rent these shadow impulses of humanity. And yeah, bye.